Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm joined by Aaron Talks Arsenal. LB will be with us momentarily. He's just running a little bit late. Of course, the big news in the last hour, Gyökeres to Arsenal. The here we go has landed. He will be playing in the red of Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium next season. We're delving into that deal and what's next for Arsenal. We're taking a look at Chelsea as well as they go in for Xavi Simon, and more stories about Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea. Plus, we are going to have an in-depth conversation about Isak because more interesting and maybe strange comments from Eddie Howe again today about a possible exit. Plus, not a lot of people have seen this yet, but he's doing individual training. He's not injured. But he is not training with his teammates. What is all this about when it comes to Alexander Isak? But Aaron, first and foremost, mate, how are you?
Yeah, no, big up, mate. Like I said, Santatel told me backstage that we'd got the Gyökeres. Here we go. I was too busy doing daddy duties today, so I actually didn't realise. So yeah, Tel's bringing the presents, man. I just hope more's going to come. But other than that, yeah, big up to you, brother. Big up to the chat. Hope you're all good.
Yeah, look, it's done and it's dusted in terms of the deal. You've still got to get the medical and the formalities out the way. But Gyökeres is going to be an Arsenal player. How excited are you to see probably the most prolific striker? LB is just joining us now, people. Yes, bro. Welcome back, my G. How are you feeling, Aaron? Because you've just gone and probably signed the most prolific striker, the prolific goal scorer that's available to Arsenal in the world. You were never going to get Mbappe. You were never going to get Erling Haaland. But you've gone out there and landed Gyökeres today. The deal is formal. You must be very excited about what he is going to bring to Arsenal.
Oh yeah, listen, absolutely. Like you said, when you're looking at available players out there weren't anyone available. We were never going to get Isak. I'd have loved Isak, but look, we've gone and got Gyökeres, and you can't really fault the club. I'd have preferred it a little bit sooner, but look, I suppose if you want to go technically, it was there just before our first game in pre-season. I'll allow it. It is what it is. But he's in the door. You know, he's going to get that pre-season in terms of games. He's going to meet up with his mates, learn about the manager. That's what pre-season is all about, bearing in mind. And yeah, I just like the fact that we've gone out there and got someone. Do you know what I mean? He's surely the most sought-after striker that's available, especially to Arsenal Football Club. And we've gone and got him. So I'm absolutely buzzing with it. I just hope, he can translate some of that form in terms of output into the Premier League. I've got no doubt that he'll do there or thereabouts. I'm not expecting Sporting Lisbon numbers because, they're astronomical. If we can translate that into the Premier League, I mean, we'll be very, very dangerous next season. If he can do 70% of that, I'll be absolutely buzzing. But look, in the transfer and its isolation, I'm double buzzing with it. It's what Arsenal Football Club have needed for a very, very, very long time. We've needed a striker, and I'm just sort of glad we're not signing someone that's a midfielder, like a Kai Havertz, and then flogging him up there, or a right winger like Jesus, and then just putting him up there. We've actually gone and got an out-and-out number 9 for the first time in probably a very long time, and absolutely the first time under Mikel Arteta's reign. It'd be interesting to see how we're going to go about tactically now that he's here, because I don't think we can play the same tactics with him in the team as last season. So it'd be interesting to see what Mikel Arteta's got up his sleeve in terms of changing things a little bit more tactically. I hope more attacking, because I think we'll absolutely benefit from that. Another left winger would be absolutely fantastic to go towards for that attack. But look, we already knew sort of Saka, right wing, was there or thereabouts done. You know what I mean? He's our boy. We've got Gyökeres up front now. We're just looking for that last 33%. I'd love it to be Rodrigo. Maybe we'll talk about that. I don't know. But at the minute, our attack's looking tenfold better. It'll be our 5th signing of the summer. And to be fair, he's really the only signing that we've made so far this summer that's actually a massive improvement. That's no huge disrespect to what we've already signed. A backup goalkeeper, it is what it is. Norgard, a replacement, it is what it is. We've had obviously Zubimendi. I hope he comes in and does great. But he's a direct, real replacement for an outgoing in terms of Thomas Partey. Madueke, is he going to start at the left wing? Is he going to start as a backup to Saka? Who knows? But Gyökeres just came in And there's a clear outright improvement to what we've got. And really the only outright improvement than what we've got is tenfold better than Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus combined. Let's just get that right. So yeah, listen, you told me earlier, no, look, we can smile as Arsenal fans. Look, we're not all cold, heartless mofos. You know what I mean? We can have a little bit of warmth in our heart. And I'm buzzing with the news today, Tel. It's been a long time coming, but I think Arsenal will be better for it. I just don't want us to stop. That's the important thing. I just don't want us to stop here and go, there you go, Arsenal fans. You've got your striker, job done. Now we're closing the transfer market. I want us to keep on going, act like a big club. Go and get an Eze. Go and get a Rodrigo. Go and really put a statement out to the Premier League that, do you know what? Arsenal are finished with finishing second. Try and go get that first place. And that's how you're going to do it. Show your ambition. Go get another Gyökeres on the left wing. Go get another Gyökeres at number 10. Do you understand what I'm saying? Go best in business. And that could be an Eze. It could be a Rodrigo. Look at Arsenal's forward line before I stop waffling and bring LB in. Look at the Arsenal's forward line. If we have Gyökeres up top, if we had Rodrigo on the left and Bukayo Saka on the right, all of a sudden you're looking at that team and you're thinking, fuck me, that's half decent. Yeah, that's not that bad at all. All of a sudden, Man City and Liverpool fans are thinking, okay, Arsenal might be here this season. All right. And then you've got a little bit of Eze behind them. Zubimendi, hope he does well. That's what it's all about. The defence speaks for itself. It's pretty good. That's all I want as an Arsenal fan. Sign the best available players as you can, and then let's go. But we need to do more for that to happen. That's for sure. But overall, I'm buzzing with the Gyökeres deal. I'm not going to lie.
LB, I know you're someone that for a long time has said Arsenal have got to make some statement signings. They need that goal scorer. This is it, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I was when they were linked with Sesko, I was giving Arsenal a lot of stick, and rightly so, because Sesko was not the guy, man. Yeah. He wasn't the guy. And you know listen, you got to accept that at the moment there's not that many great strikers around the world, right? We spoke about this in the past. Yeah, you go back 10, 15 years ago, you look at the strikers around the world, mate, unbelievable strikers. Now we're talking about players like Gyökeres and Sesko going for big cash. What could Arsenal do? I mean, there's not that many strikers out there that could go for. You know, they obviously weren't going to get Isak. You know, they're not going to pay 140 mil, whatever, to get him out. So this guy's the next best for me. Well, actually, I thought Osimhen was the next best personally, but listen, no one wants to go near him for some reason. At the end of the day, yeah, Arsenal fans, and not just Arsenal fans, everyone's been saying Arsenal need a goal scorer. We've been saying that for years. Yeah, we've been saying Arsenal need a goal scorer for years, but they've gone and got one. They've gone and got Gyökeres. I think the price that they're paying looks like a pretty good price as well. Do you know what I mean? I think it's 63 million euros, which is, I think, quite cheap, really. Consider how many goals he scored last year. I mean, he's got 39 goals in the league alone. Last year, he got 29 the year before. I'm looking at that. The year before that, he got 21 in the Championship. He got 17 the year before. He scored goals for the national team when he plays for Sweden, 15 and 26. So at the end of the day, I think this ticks all the boxes. The question will be, does the way Arteta sets the team up get the best out of him and get the goals out of him? That's the question that we're going to see now. But to be honest, that's up to Arteta to do, and I think everyone will agree with that. Even the people who defend Arteta with their life will be like, Arteta's got to get the best out of him now, because if this guy walks in the door, having come off the back of 39 goals in the league, 29, 21 and 17, and then struggles to deliver the goals, I think people are going to be like, hang on a minute, that's a bit weird. You know what I mean? What's going on here? So I think it's a great signing. I think is what it keeps their title dreams alive, because if they would have got Sesko, mate. So you ain't winning the Premier League with Sesko. You ain't winning the Champions League. I think this is a great signing. They do need more. Yeah, we spoke about this in the past. They do need a left winger. They need to upgrade that position as well. We spoke about this last week, actually, I think, didn't we, Aaron? They need a backup for Saka and that. But yeah, that fair play to him, man. I like the signings that they've made. I think someone made a great signing. Yeah, we spoke about the fact I think he's a downgrade on Partey, but that Partey's gone. He's come in, great signing. I think he's a top player. I wanted him at City. Gyökeres top signing. I think Kepa as a backup goalkeeper, actually, been one of the few people that actually think that's a good deal. 5 million quid, loads of experience, backup goalkeeper. Norgard will come in and do the minutes. It's that left wing position and then Saka cover, because they can't keep spamming Saka out every single game. Yeah, they've got to find a solution to be able to say, right, we need to rest him for this game. He can't play 38 games and then play every Champions League game. So yeah, no, I think they're having a good window, but it can't stop here. They've got to continue, man. They've got to keep pressing and get that left winger in. And it's got to be another level raiser. You know, Arsenal haven't won the Premier League for 20 odd years. They've never won the Champions League in the history. They can't just go, oh, we got Zubimendi and Gyökeres sorted. So they got to keep pushing, man. But I actually think that it's fucking sick signing, mate. I can't lie.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I don't think they should stop now either. I think if they end up stopping now, I think that they leave themselves maybe a little bit short. There's no doubt about that. Will, thank you for encouraging everybody to get the like button hit, by the way. Get that done, please, people. I think it's a transformative piece of business because I think you're spot on, LB. There are very few available strikers in the world that are better than him. And everyone's, you know, there's the whole Portugal thing. Can he do it here in the Prem? I even hear people go, yeah, but scores quite a lot of penalties. I mean, Arsenal would have knocked Man United out of the FA Cup last year if it weren't for penalties. If Saka buries that penalty 2 years ago in the title race against West Ham, they might have won the fucking league. Suddenly, scoring penalties isn't important. That's the one thing I don't like about the analysis around Gyökeres is people are clutching at straws to find something bad to say. Maybe he won't work out. And all three of us will sit there and have to eat our hats and go, actually, he wasn't as good as people or we initially thought. But overall, he is a transformative signing. He scores a shed load of goals. He's physically built for the Premier League. He's technically good on the ball as well. I'm not making any claims that he's R9, but he's not Lukaku. He's not Rasmus Højlund on the ball. Overall, he's phenomenal. I also think there was this fear amongst Arsenal fans of, oh, Arteta's going to rule the roost still. Berta's going to have no power. Arteta's going to get everything he wants. Berta's not going to have any control. And this is the signing that disproves that. So it's something Arsenal fans can drop. It's something Arsenal fans don't have to complain about or debate or worry about anymore because the record has been set straight that Berta has, at the very least, influence. At the very least, can assert himself. And I think it shuts down one of those conversations. And I think it also means you can move on to focusing on, well, what are we going to achieve as a club, as opposed to, does the manager even have the right tools to achieve? Because you do. You may not have enough today in everybody's eyes to win the league, but you certainly have enough to win trophies. You've bought enough to win trophies. You've got a goal scorer that, again, if you had Gyökeres against Newcastle in the semi-finals last year, does he take the chances Kai Havertz missed? Yes. If he would have played in some, you know, in that game against PSG, some of those chances that fell to your attackers, would a striker like Gyökeres have done better? In my opinion, yes. So he's someone that can move that for Arsenal. As well, as I mean, £55 million as well, I think it's a bit of a steal. I don't think it's that expensive for a prolific striker either. So good business from a financial standpoint. I agree with you. Can't stop. They've got to keep buying. They've got to keep going in this transfer window. But overall, I think Arsenal fans should just feel amazing this news today, because I certainly would. I've got him so badly at Man United. Have I frozen? Can you guys see me?
A little bit, yeah,
okay,
but
I'm
making
back
sense
now.
of pretty much what you're making, but yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. Just quickly, on the whole penalty thing as well. I'm just checking his record from last year. Yeah, if you exclude penalties in the league, he's still got 27 goals in 25. That's 11 more than the guy who comes second on the top goal scorers. So yeah, he scores a lot of penalties. He also scores a lot of non-penalty goals. You know what I mean? And like I say, like at the end of the day, yeah, like for me, I'm just looking at it thinking, like it's all about intent. Like, go and get the best player you can get, and if he flops or he does crap, like it is what it is. Like that's why I think people are frustrated at, you know, some Arsenal fans are frustrated at the likes of signing players like Havertz, because it's like, why do you sign him? Do you know what I mean? Like United with Højlund, like if you go out, like Liverpool signed Núñez, right? And obviously it's not worked out yet. He's leaving, yeah. But at the end of the day, like no one's gonna like mock them that much, because at the end of the day, they went out there. The guy was slamming goals in Portugal, doing really, really well. Like they went and spent the money on him, and it's not quite worked out. It's what it is. So if this guy comes in and fails, yeah, obviously you look at the manager and say, like, what are you doing? How come this guy scored goals everywhere? Is it because of you? But if maybe it's not because of him, maybe it just turns out to be not very good, then you go, right, fair enough. But for me, it's the intent that Arsenal is showing with these signings, Zubimendi and Gyökeres. They're big known players, well-known players. And like I say, I don't think them two on their own will win them the Premier League or Champions League. It's good enough to win a cup, surely, an FA Cup or Carabao. But they've got to keep going, man. Have you been linked with any left wingers on, huh?
What for us? I mean, for me, I think maybe the Rodrigo links maybe have gone a little bit quiet. Other people might tell me a little bit different. I'm just a little bit worried in terms of the left wing. that Madueke's not going to be the left winger. That's. Do you know, if we was to bring in an Eze, and a Rodrigo, I wouldn't really give too much of a so and so about the Madueke deal because you've gone and got that. But I reckon the problem is with a lot of Arsenal fans, especially like myself, is we're thinking the Madueke deal might hinder after the Gyökeres signing other potential sort of signings. And I've seen a lot of reports saying that Arsenal will now need to sell. It's been 7.5 weeks of the transfer business. Why have we not sold anyone yet? So it's a little bit sort of frustrating on that in terms of the left-hand side. One thing's for absolute sure, LB, is what you quite rightly say, brother. If we need a Gyökeres for that left winger, we need a game changer, and the one out there that could be possibly available would be a Rodrigo. If Arsenal Football Club signed Rodrigo, and like I said earlier, and we had that front three, that's a game changer. I'm not saying we're winning Champions Leagues. I'm not saying that we're going to be winning Premier Leagues. But I'll tell you what, that front three would not be a bloody good front three. That front three would probably make a few defenders in that Premier League, or even in the Champions League, go, yeah, shit, we might have a bit of a bad day here. We might have a bit of a difficult evening here, boys. Because that's what it does. When you've got players like that, it changes perceptions on the opposition in the tunnel, on the field. We're like, wow, yeah, Rodrigo's going to be a bit of a tricky handful. Oh, yeah, say Gyökeres, yeah, if he gets a chance, he'll probably bury it. You've got to be on your game to stop that. It's a total game changer from Martinelli and Havertz, having a Gyökeres and a Rodrigo. And I think, again, with the availability thing, if we're talking about availability, Rodrigo, you'd presume, will be / is available. I don't know 100% whatever for certain. If he is, he'll probably be the best available left winger out there. And if Arsenal Football Club want to get back to where I believe they should be and where they belong, challenging for these competitions, not just being in the Champions League, because we've been in the Champions League for the last 2 years. We haven't challenged for it. Let's get that right. We've been in it. I'm not saying Rodrigo will do that on its own, but that front three, you're looking at that and thinking, okay, cool. Maybe Arsenal do have a chance here. You add an Eze into that mix and you're thinking, all of a sudden, Arsenal's got a bit of squad depth. They've got something about them, maybe. And you would go, maybe, because Arsenal ain't won it 139 years, you wouldn't put them as favourites to win the Champions League. But I tell you what, you'd go, maybe they're dark horses this year. Because that's what it does. When you level up positions and positions we need, it changes perceptions. And it would definitely change mine if we was to sign them 2 players, for argument's sake.
You just want to go into these competitions, innit, and believe that you're good enough to win the competition. Because, like, you get it. And this is, I guess, where, like, this, and I know, Terra, I've seen you have these sort of conversations in the past on the channel about, like, when teams say, like, oh, is it better to be in the Champions League? Or is it better to win, like, a Carabao Cup, for example? And I know them sort of debates. But, like, yeah, being in the Champions League is good on that. And, yes, you get the money. But ultimately, if you don't spend that money correctly and invest it correctly, what's the actual point? And all three of us, I don't know, Aaron's club's never won it, yeah? Just keep saying that. But I know, I know your club's never won it, yeah?
Sorry about that. Yeah,
all three of our clubs, yeah, have had teams in the top tournament where we believed at one point or another, we can win this year. Yeah, I mean, and I know you've not won it, but I know you've had teams in the competition where you felt, we could actually win it this year. And I think Arsenal are getting close, to having a team where Arsenal fans can say with chest, I think we could actually win this year. And they are pretty close. You look at Raya. I think Raya's a top goalkeeper. Timber, fantastic player. The back two, mega. Let's see what happens to Lewis Skelly this year. I think it's a big year for him to see if he can kick on. Then you can have Zubimendi. It's a bit of a question mark because he's still young. Rice, Zubimendi, Odegaard. Yeah, I still think there's a potential issue there with the creative side, but whatever. Gyökeres, Saka, and if you could get like a Rodrigo, I don't see why Arsenal fans there, unless you just literally don't rate Arteta, couldn't say, I think we can win a Champions League this year. Off the first 11, obviously you got squad and all that kind of crap, yeah. But if you're a fan who backs the manager, I know some don't, some do, whatever. But if you back the manager and you have that as your starting 11, I really don't see why Arsenal fans can't start to think, right. But that again, by the way, flip it on its head, that also then builds the pressure on the manager, because then if you start getting knocked out at quarter final stages or you're not winning trophies, people will go, hang on a minute, what's going on here? So I don't know, man. I feel like Arsenal are on the cusp of having a pretty good, like really good starting 11. Squad still needs work. And then it's just a case of, is this manager a fraud or can he actually get them across the line? So we'll see.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this deal from a content creator perspective. I would like to see, not that I want it, I would like to see the Arsenal discourse move on from Arteta's good enough. Is Arteta good enough or not? Well, we can't judge him yet because the squad ain't been built properly. They've been let him down. I would like to see a consensus of about 80% plus of Arsenal fans that go, the manager's got his squad. The manager's got a good enough team to win, so that you could all assess and then maybe come to a conclusion about the manager. That's something I'd like to just sit there and watch, and I'd like to maybe mediate some of those debates. But that's what I like about this deal, because it removes excuses. It removes excuses in my personal... What doesn't remove excuses? I'm just putting this out there for people that try and win debates. We had a caller that phoned into our show when we were live about an hour ago, and he said he's finding it weird that the Arsenal fans who wanted Arteta out, all they said last year is if we had a striker, we'd win the league. He says now they keep asking for but we ain't got this, we ain't got that, we ain't got this, we ain't got that. It's terrible, it's terrible. And he said that the one thing he said is that you guys keep kicking the can down the road for the people you despise, which is the Arteta inners. Because if you keep saying the squad ain't good enough, they'll just keep saying, well, his squad ain't good enough. There's almost an element where I think if you're an Arteta outer, I think you should, just as a thought exercise, fall on your own sword on one debate, lose a battle to maybe win the war here and just go, yeah, squad's good enough. I agree, right? Then see do you get where I'm coming from? Like, play a little bit of 4D chess here. If you keep telling Arteta inners that the squad ain't good enough, they're never gonna concede you're right about the manager. You might need to lose that battle to win your war. I'm just throwing it out there, food for thought.
I think most of us say the manager's not good enough rather than the squad. I mean, I don't also think the squad's that good enough. Do I think a better manager could take this squad and elevate it? Absolutely. Do I think a better manager could have won us a trophy? Absolutely. I think really someone and people who think like me, our side of the fence, whatever terminology you want to use. I think we're more the manager is the issue than anything. And I think we've got 5 years of historical events to prove that. 19 consecutive competitions we've entered since the FA Cup that he'd won, and 19 consecutive failures. I mean, the facts speak for themselves. Also, as well, in the last two transfer windows, Arteta's got his own squad. Well, he might not be happy with it, but there wasn't a player in there that he either didn't sign or extend their contract. So that is his squad, surely, by definition then. If he's either signed them or extended their deal, they're the players that he wants.
It is. At the same time, though, this is where, again, I'm not... People are allowed to give whatever opinions they want. Yeah. I'm just throwing something in there for a bit of a laugh.
It's not right or wrong, yeah.
However, what I hear a lot of is, didn't get, last summer, start of the season, I remember Potsy sitting here, who was saying, I think you might remember this, LB, where he said, I'm looking more at the board than the manager because we didn't buy good enough players in the summer for the squad. So as soon as you've said that, if you're trying to debate someone on whether or not the manager should be judged on winning, they're just going to go, well, you yourself said the squad wasn't good enough. So in terms, I would just...
Who assembled the squad for 5 years, though? This is what we're saying. You can just go around it.
Yeah,
and
no,
just
I
keep
understand,
going
I
around
understand
and
that.
around
But the one thing is this, though, right? They say, for instance, Berta couldn't... The one thing Arteta doesn't do, Pep doesn't do it, Fergie didn't even do it in the last 4 or 5 years of his managerial career. The managers don't negotiate the deals. That's the one thing that I wouldn't put on Pep. If, for instance,
Pep's come out, Arteta's come out and said that he's got the last say on all the deals.
Yeah, I take
it.
Yeah, last say. But the point is this: if he goes,
so this is players. And if you don't want him,
hang on, let me finish. You're not let me finish.
Right, cool.
If he says I want Gyökeres as my number one striker, and Berta can't get the deal done, and they go, right, he's now not available because we tried to do the deal and we fucked it up, and they told us no. Arteta's not getting his number one target that he's picked. If you end up in a situation where he's signing his third or fourth choice because the people negotiating are not good enough, I don't necessarily blame the manager for that. Like this summer, you look at, is it Eddie Howe's fault or is it Newcastle's fault that nearly every single player they tried to sign has rejected them? I don't blame Eddie. Eddie Howe's not in the negotiation room. That's not his job, right? So it's not Eddie Howe's fault that in Mbumo, James Trafford, all these other players said no to them, and they're left with what they're left with. I still think they're getting good players, by the way, but there is an element there where Newcastle fans might say next season if they don't kick on, well, I feel a bit sorry for Eddie Howe because we wanted Nketiah, we got Visser. We wanted Cunha and Mbumo, and they ended up with Elanga. Do you get where I'm coming from? So I do think there's a nuance there and an element of conversation to be had. Did you land your main. Look, you can pivot to good players. City wanted Verts, didn't get him. They went and got Cherky, another amazing player. But if they ended up going, right, we can't get our number 1, number 2 target. There you go, Pep. We're giving you James Maddison. I don't think City fans would be as frustrated with Pep if it didn't work as they would the recruitment team, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the issue is Arteta wanted Zinchenko, Arteta wanted Jesus. Now, they might have been little upgrades there and then. That was 3 years ago. Why aren't you upgraded on them yet? Yeah, he also signed Declan Rice. Props for it. Buzzing. Timber, really good signing. He also signed Kai Havertz. That was his boy. So whose fault is that? His fault.
No,
and it's crippled us.
I agree.
There's so many ways you can go around that.
But I don't think it's black and white. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these conversations. So I agree with you on Kai Havertz. He went for that deal. Equally, he has upgraded on Zinchenko. But he has last summer when we needed that striker and we got Mikel Merino and Calafiori instead of spending that on the Gyökeres release clause. Okay,
it's signing still.
Hang on, but that I agree with. But I put that on the board. I don't put that on the manager. Do you know why? Because your ball shouldn't. No. Your ball shouldn't fucking let him do it. At the end of the day,
I agree with that.
So for me, it's how you view things. But when you say he hasn't upgraded on Zinchenko, I definitely think the likes of Calafiori, and I know he brought him in from the academy. I think that Miles Lewis-Skelly and Calafiori are upgrades on Zinchenko as left backs. I think they're better players, as an example. I also agree with you that between Arteta and your club, you should have got a new striker in at least a year earlier than you've done. There's no doubt about it. At the same time, I think your club as a collective.
Whose fault is that we hadn't signed a striker for 5 years? This is our first actual out-and-out striker.
Well, I think it's a combination of everybody. Yeah. I
agree, but
I wouldn't just say it's Arteta, because then I think what you're doing is you're relinquishing responsibility from men in highly paid jobs with actually more power than the manager. Because if the board don't have more power than the manager, that's a board issue, not a manager issue. Man United have done that. We do it every time.
Part to discipline. No?
Absolutely.
I agree.
The problem is there's a lot of people don't blame Arteta for anything. And I'm actually agree with you there, Tel. Yeah, there is multiple people to blame for a lot of things, but multiple people don't blame Arteta for a lot of things. And that's not good enough.
No, I agree with that completely. I think that the problem is with this conversation, it's become so polarized. I want to be right that Arteta's shit. I want to be right that Arteta's good enough. And when I've listened to a lot of the debates over the last 2 or 3 years, nuance goes out the window, balance goes out the window. Everything's bad. I've seen Arsenal fans this summer know that Gyökeres is better, but when they thought they were getting Šeško, I've seen them make up bullshit reasons as to why he's good enough. Also, since you were going to get Gyökeres, I've seen it go the other way. I've seen Arsenal fans that don't like Arteta now start to look for reasons. They asked for Gyökeres all year. Now they're looking for reasons why he's not good enough. And I look at it and just think, still, a lot of us are in our 30s and 40s that are doing this.
I've got to live it, Tel. I've got to live it. You can just look from the outside and go, look at these fuckers. I've got to live it. I'm right in the middle of it, mate.
I'm not having it, right? You two, this is your problems compared to me. I'm starving and got no money to buy food. You two are upset, right? You two are upset that you've got leaves in your swimming pool and you've got to clean them out. You've got first world problems, bruv. Don't even chat to me about problems when it comes to my football club. You can both do one on that. There's got a few comments that have come in here. Let's have a little look here. What's being said? Arsenal lost in the semi-finals to PSG. We did challenge for the Champions League last year. We beat Real Madrid. Arteta in is what Alex says here.
Well, we didn't because we lost both legs. In fact, we lost the leg over 3 minutes, really. So I was at that, by the way, the PSG game. Second, that goal went in after 3 minutes. Yeah, we all kind of knew what was happening. Yeah, we still had a chance. Plenty of players left in there. But look at the 2 semi-finals that we played in. We lost all 4 games. We didn't really challenge then, did we? If you lost all 4 games, didn't even score against Newcastle twice.
So can I ask you a question just so I understand your
challenging? That's not challenging, is it? No.
Okay, I just want to ask you a question so I understand your view on football. So I get it. What do you in cups? What do you consider challenging? Just so I understand your definition of challenging for a trophy.
Well, I mean, probably getting to the final helps, doesn't it? You're actually competing for the cup, then, aren't you? But if you've got absolutely humiliated in it, then you ain't really competed that well for it, have you? If you got taken the piss out of 4-0, then you didn't really deserve to be there. You might have got there, and this is my point about the semi-finals. What was Arsenal's ceiling? Yes, you qualified to 2 semi-finals. Yeah, you did. But really, that semi-final weren't your level. Otherwise, you'd have done a lot better, wouldn't you, in both of them? You lost when you lose 4 games in 2 semi-finals. That's not great. That tells you that the quarterfinals probably where you are if you cannot do any good in 4 semi-final games. That's how I look at it. People might not agree with that. That's absolutely fine. But if you're going to get to semi-final and lose every game, maybe you just ain't the semi-final team because you've lost every game. We lost to Newcastle 4-0, didn't even score a goal. Was the semi-final our level just because we qualified there? Nah, the quarterfinal was our level, in my opinion, because that's the only time you got to win. You know,
I think you're challenging. I think when it comes to Champions League, I think it's like when you've done a couple of years of getting deep in the competition.
Did we challenge for it last year, LB? Or the year before, the Champions League? Legitimately challenged.
What happened the year before? I can't remember.
Oh shit! I've been right caught out. It would have been Bayern Munich. That's it. Oh yeah, we didn't score a goal in the quarterfinals there.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we did. What am I talking about? Absolute shit. 2-2 at the Emirates. I'm talking waffle.
Yeah, I've got it here. Let's have a look. What did we do?
2-2 at the Emirates. We went 1-0 up, 2-1 down, 2-2. And then we lost. Who was it? Kimmich, I think, got the header.
Yeah, so quarterfinals. So you got knocked out of the quarterfinals. So you got knocked out in the semi-finals. So I don't know. I see it as like if you're getting to the semi-finals or get to a final in like a 2 to 3 year period, then I'm like, right, you're now challenging for the Champions League. So like when City won it, we got to a final, then we got to the semi-final, then we won it. So going into that third season, I was like, well, we're constantly up there. We're challenging for it. Yeah, semi-final, final. You're going to win it at some point, right? You know, if you get lucky. I think Arsenal doing a quarter-final and then a semi-final. I wouldn't say you're challenging for it, but you are a team that obviously can go far in the competition.
Well, but we'll know that next year, wouldn't we, LB? If we get to the final or another semi-final, maybe we are there or thereabouts.
Yeah, no, of course, but you know, it's like I'm not going to say Arsenal are challenging, constantly challenging for the Champions League when they got to one semi-final in the last couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have been a fluke. Who knows? That could have been a fluke last year. So we'll see next year. But
if we drew you in the semi-finals, LB, if we drew you in the semi-finals, would you be worried?
Well, I think, yeah, when you get to
semi-finals, would you be confident you'd go through against us?
I'd back us to beat you. But when you get to
so would Barcelona, so would Real Madrid, so would Bayern Munich, so would PSG. That's the problem.
But going back to the point that I was speaking about before, Arsenal need to build a team, and to be honest, more than a team, they need to build a squad where when you're going into those games, you're going, you know what, we can beat these guys. Do you know what I mean? Like when we won it, going into Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, I was like, we can beat these, and we beat them and won it. Yeah, like last year, went against Real Madrid, I was like, we ain't beating Real Madrid, mate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I didn't feel that we had the team to beat them. So you've got to get back to having a position where you have a team. And this is the point I'm making. Arsenal are pretty close, in my opinion, to having a squad that can compete to win this Champions League. Yeah, they got to semi-finals last year, not a million miles away. But they have to keep pushing. If it's just Gyökeres and Zubimendi, you ain't winning the Champions League. You need to get that left winger. You need that Rodrigo. Arsenal now, tomorrow, now they got this deal done, they should be putting a bid in for Rodrigo, man.
Yeah.
Go and get Rodrigo. You know what I mean? And then, upgrade the other areas of the squad. But if they don't get a left winger who's top class, nah.
Can I as well give a little context to my point, about the semi-finals and the way we lost them? And I think it's fair. If we'd have gone out on penalties to Newcastle and penalties to PSG, I'd have gone, all right, yeah, Arsenal belonged in that semi-final because we competed with them. We only just lost there or thereabouts. Even maybe if it, you know what I mean? That's the point I'm trying to make. When you're losing 4-0 in a semi-final, you ain't really done well in a semi-final, have you? If you're conceding goals after 3 minutes and losing both legs of a Champions League final, would have lost one and then drew one, you know what I mean? And then, then it got to penalties. What I'm saying is it's competitive then. You're taking it to the wire, or it was just a world-class goal that just knocks you out that no one can do anything about. They're just the fine little margins. But when you're losing 4-0 without scoring a goal and you're losing both legs of a Champions League, conceding at home after 3 minutes, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. And that's not going to win you, most likely, Champions Leagues. And I think that's a fair statement to say. I'll stand by that all day long.
This year says, is there a manager that gets as much credit and blame for off the field shit like Arteta?
Well, no. from an outside perspective, obviously I'm not an Arsenal fan. I think Arteta does deserve quite a lot of criticism on that. And listen, I've been pretty fair today on Arsenal. Yeah, People in the chat saying I've been glazing. Yeah, so now I can't say I'm a hater at the same time. I think, to be fair, I also think he deserves a lot of stick. I think the Havertz signing was rubbish. Yeah, and that ain't worked. Yeah, I think signing Gabriel Jesus for 50 million quid was silly. And I told Arsenal fans when you signed him, I said he ain't a striker. Best positions on the wing. Signing Zinchenko was not a great move. Signing Calafiori now looks a bit sus because now you got Lewis Skelly coming in. Vieira. Yeah. How many goalkeepers has he done? 8. So there are definitely positives. Yeah, there were definitely had some great signings in there. The likes of Declan Rice and a couple of others. Yeah, 100% he's made some good signings. But I think he's also got quite a few L's in there as well, to be honest. And that's me trying to be fair and balanced here.
Yeah, it's probably 70-30 with the losses because look at all the names you quickly reeled off of the crap signings that Arsenal made, and then when they started going good, you started freezing after about 2 or 3. That's the problem. We've made about 70% crap signings. You can go through it all through the windows. They've not been good enough. The vast majority of them. There's a few that you'd missed. I mean, just look at our entire window alone last summer. Norbert Neto and Sterling, whatever their loans for a year, but I mean they were hardly great, were they? And then you're looking at Calafiori. And then looking at Mikel Merino, that was Arsenal's transfer window last summer to catch you, LB. That's what we done. That's what we thought was good enough to close the 2-point gap to you. Though? Not good enough.
You know what I find quite... Yeah, at the same time, though, going back to the point that Terry was making before, this is where the board and the club should be stepping in and saying...
Agreed.
But this is exactly it, because this is what I find interesting, and it's great to listen to a new voice for new opinions. If they say that the best run clubs in the world, there's been a study out that says the best run clubs in the world have about a 50% to 55% succession rate with transfers. That being said, let's just stick with that number. This is where I look at it, though, and say, maybe Arteta is a brilliant manager then. Because if you've fouled with 70% of your signings, but he's taken you from a team in 8th to a team
He put us in 8th, He put us in 8th. Come on, what we're doing here. He put us in 8th. Emery finished 5th. He took over, and Emery was 5 points off the top 4. Just he was sat in 10th. Didn't look pretty. Arteta's first season, he finished 8th, and then his first full season,
he was 10th.
That's a myth.
But you were 10th when he came in, right?
but then you can just go 5 points off a 4th, can't you? You can just do that.
Okay, look.
But we're doing league finishes,
hang on.
So pick one of them.
Please let me finish. Right. So my point is this, and again, it's just food for thought. If he's such a bad manager who's had 70% failure of signings, how have you gone from being a 5th place and an 8th place team, definitely a team not in contention for league titles, to get you back into a position where you're in title races and you're considering not getting over the line in a title race as failure? Does that not suggest potentially that with a better board and better sporting directors that make better decisions and buy better players, he could get over the line? If so far 70% of the players that your club has bought for him have been failures.
That he's bought himself. So what I'm saying is how about just change manager and get someone that can do the 50-50 like you? You're taking off all the onus then on him by saying, oh yeah, you're saying this 70-30, but there is signings. It's all right, cool. Let's just take the manager out there, and I think the statistic goes up. What can you do about that? It's the manager's fault. I think you proved my point there by saying.
See, the reason why I don't think it proves your point is when you look at other clubs. So, for instance, Pep Guardiola will have a say on who comes in. It would be given. What happens is at all clubs is a list of players is shown. The list of players are meant to meet the threshold of the profiles that you need, the style of football, and of course being of the right quality for your club. Managers will have a say on being the same now. Ruben Amorim will get a list of players that comes in from Wilcock, from Barada, from Vavell. These are the players that meet the threshold, that are affordable and attainable. He'll get a say in which ones off that list he wants, but they should all fit what the club are doing. For me, because your manager isn't scouting the players, your manager isn't doing that part of the job. Managers haven't done that for 30 odd years. So it's still Edu and co that come to him with a list of players that he has to choose from. Yes, he may pick the wrong one on the list, but who were the other options? For me, I look at it this way. You need a strong person like a Berta at a football club, top-level sporting director, to help any manager be successful. I've heard Pep this is why I view it this way. I've heard Pep say in press conferences, he didn't even really know who Doku was, and then they signed him. The well-run clubs, the sporting directors and the board sign the players that fit what the club's trying to build, and the head coach and manager manages them. So for me, I just think if you've given him 70% shit, Give him 50-60% good.
Yeah, but how do you know we've given him that? He's chose a lot of that 70%. So I disagree, Tel. You're saying, oh, he's had a thing to choose from. No one gave him a choice for Kai Havertz. He chose Kai Havertz. So let's get that absolutely straight. Edu didn't come out there and go, here, do you want a Kai Havertz? That was Mikel Arteta's boy. And he will die on that sword, by the way.
But what about all the signings that your ball didn't deliver for him? The countless signings that were on the list. Like, he wanted Caicedo. Your club couldn't go and get that done, as an example. Isak was a signing that he wanted. Your club couldn't get that done, as an example. I've read the list. There are many that he wanted that they couldn't get over the line, and you've gone for other options. That's where I look at it and say a better board and a better negotiators maybe would have got that 30% success rate up to 50% success. So I just think that, listen, he deserves criticism. I ripped into Arteta a lot last year for style of play, decisions that he made. But for me, like, Pep doesn't get a lot of stick for the terrible signings in the last couple of years, because we all know that by and large, managers aren't making that many signings. The board of directors are doing it. The shortlists are made by then. The managers have a say in who they pick off those lists, but they're not doing they're not Fergie's anymore. They don't operate in that way. And I think this Gyökeres signing is part of that, because the narrative was Arteta's going to get his way by being able to sign Šeško. They're bringing a new sporting director who's gone, nah, this is a better player at better value, and have gone and got it done. So maybe now more success will come. But I think that's a good thing for you, because it really puts the pressure on Arteta now, because I think most Arsenal fans have got their dream signing here. So far more pressure on him to deliver. Let's do some more super chats here. Terry and LB were shocked with Arteta put us in 8th.
Because he did. This is just a fact. He just did.
And I'm not shocked. Sorry, I already knew that.
Yeah.
I was alive 5 years ago.
A lot. This is what there's a proper misconception, and people are using. Oh, he put us in 8th. Like I said, he put us in 10th, but he's only 5 points behind Chelsea in 4th. You know, with a lot of the season left to go. Ultimately, the manager's name at the end of the 38th game was Mikel Arteta. And what about the next season when he still got us 8th under his first full season? Oh, but he was clearing out all the rot. All right, cool. Well, what have you done? We've just quantum leaped back into 2019, because now we've just got loads of more rot that he's fucking signed that we can't get rid of. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but you are a better team. You are a better team. You are a better team.
Absolutely. How many trophies we got to show for the 8th, 5th, 2nd, by the way?
Yeah, that's very, very true. But would you rather be
very true, isn't it? Very true.
Would you? Well, you've won 1 trophy in that time. What would you rather? Would you rather be the team you are now, or the team you were when he left? Which side would you rather have? The 2019 Arsenal squad and team, or would you rather have the team and squad now?
I would rather have the 2019 Arsenal squad with a different manager. That's what I'd rather have. Yeah, 100%. Arsenal shouldn't have signed a rookie. University of Arsenal should have never signed a manager that had 1 game for Manchester City as an emergency and lost it. That's just a fact. It's 3rd biggest club in English football. Why are we giving it to Mikel Arteta is ridiculous. And the 5 years later have proved it. What are we doing here? Yeah, he's done an all right job. He's got us a second a couple of times. Wicked. The last time we finished second 3 times in a row, we've done the double that's sandwiched in between it in 98 and 2002. What have we got to show for it this time? A bottle job to 5th place and fuck knows next season. Come on, man. Come on, we're a team that don't win anything. Great, second. Wicked. It ain't the Olympics. You don't get silver medal.
I think that's why this year he just has to win something, man.
Go. We said that last year, LB.
No, and I agree. And if it was me, I'd probably move him on, because and I've said this for some time, and Terry will know this because we've been doing this show a long time. I think Arteta, where he's actually gone wrong, is not going strong enough in those cup competitions, those domestic cup competitions, because they build the foundations. Yeah, they bring you that winning success, and I think that's where he's gone wrong. If it was me, I'd move him on, because I'd be like, yo, you've been here 5 years, you've done 800 million. You know, we've got our club legend Thierry Henry even asking questions about it now. It's got to that stage. But if someone wants to give it 1 more year, I understand why they want to do that. But then if you are one of those people and he doesn't win anything next year, then like, are you just going to go again and say, yo, we'll give him 1 more year? Like, there has to be a cut-off point, right? You can't just keep going. Like you say, this is the 3rd biggest club in the country.
Yeah.
The third most successful club in the country, right? They can't be going, even United, in the last decade, have been in their worst era I've ever seen them in. And they're still picking up Europa Leagues, FA Cups, Carabao Cups. And they're in full crisis mode, and they're still winning trophies.
Yeah.
Arsenal obviously are miles better on the pitch and miles better off the pitch, but you've got nothing to show for it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about going to Wembley, lifting the trophies. It's about watching your team, lift the Champions League, win the Premier League. That's what it's about. It's not about finishing second. No one cares. Who finished second in 2014? Who finished second in 1994?
Liverpool did.
Who finished second in 1994?
Because he won.
I want to say Leeds. I think Leeds came second that season.
Who finished second in 1928?
1928. I wasn't alive then, so I don't remember that. But
nobody gives a shit. No one cares, man. The winner goes on the trophy.
Blackburn in 94, actually. It might have been Blackburn in 94.
I think Blackburn win it in 94.
No. It was Aston Villa in 93. 94 was definitely Blackburn. I was thinking of another year when it was Leeds. 94, Blackburn came second. 95, Blackburn won it. Yeah, that's
and then he won it. Yeah, you're right. Because he done it. Kenny Dalglish got promoted, and within 3 years, he finished 4th, 2nd, and won it.
2014 was definitely Liverpool because that was a Gerrard slip year. I do remember that. Let's have a look at some more super chats here. This says, you make a statement that 70% surely financial risk has to come into this. Signings are not equal spending. 8 million on Tavares is no big deal. I reckon if you look at the significant ones, most have done well.
To be fair, I wasn't on about the finances, though. I was on about the amount of players that have come in. So Tavares doesn't come down under the 70% as 8 million. He comes under the 70% as a failed player. That's what I was talking about, not the finances. If that's what Invincibles means.
So let's go through the list here. Let's go through the list, right, of players that were signed, and we'll do failures, or let's actually test the theory here. Let me just timestamp when we do.
This is gonna be funny.
I'm confident.
Yeah, well, listen, it's opinions. You're allowed opinion. So let's do them from the first summer. So Thomas Partey, would you flop, worked or flop?
Yeah.
Thomas Partey.
Good.
So right, I want to mark this down because then we can do a percentage, right? Let me just get a bit of paper up. I'll say a bit of paper, Word doc.
I mean, it's not good at how it ended with Thomas Partey. I mean, but the signing originally was pretty good.
But yeah, so that's one that's worked, right? So that's one that's worked.
Gabriel will be in there.
Yeah. So yeah, the next player on the list is Gabriel Magalhaes.
Yep.
Yeah, that worked. Mari at 6 million.
Absolute shocking.
There we go.
That should be -2 for Mari.
Cedric
Suarez -3.
So again, are you as harsh on like? Are you? Hang on. Yeah, because we're doing the significant signing. So the following year, Ben
all
White,
the signings, not the significant signings, all the signings.
So you're as harsh on a free transfer as you are as a £50 million signing.
Was it a good transfer or not? That's not the question. The fee is never involved in this question. It's whether the player was a good signing.
The fee is definitely it's not be involved. The fee has got to be involved.
So you're taking off Cedric Suarez because it's a free.
I'm not taking. Hang on, no.
So you're changing the parameters.
I'm not changing no parameters. We haven't set the parameters.
You are though. You literally are changing.
Aaron, I'm trying to set the parameters here. I'm asking you if you want to do it, you can. Do you judge?
Name all the players that we've signed.
Please let me finish asking the question. Do you judge Cedric Suarez on a free to the same level that you judge £100 million Declan Rice? Do you judge him exactly the same?
In this hit or miss, yes. In this specific little hit miss, that what we're doing is an Arteta signing where fee is absolutely bloody irrelevant. He came in as a transfer. If it'd have done brilliant, you'd have included him though, wouldn't you, Tell? If it had been the world class right,
I thought we would do it. Hang on. Just the super chat says significant signings. I don't consider a free transfer a significant signing. So we do want to do the freeze. We'll do the freeze. I'm just a little bit mixed.
Signings because that's what my 70% was.
Can I ask you a question just so I understand? Aaron, can I ask you a question so I understand? Yeah. Why do you judge a free transfer like Cedric Suarez to the same level as you would £100 million signing?
Mate, we're going way off topic here.
No, we're not. We're literally talking about it.
We were rating Arteta's signings. Now all of a sudden we're going on, is he because he's 100 million up? We're just rating the incomings. That's what we're doing. What we're doing.
Okay.
Tell me the players that he signed, and I'll say whether it's good or bad. It's just not rocket science. Like that's what's it. So now we've got all these rules and things like that.
Of course, there's got to be rules. Of course, there's got to be rules.
No, it isn't. Cedric Suarez came in the club. Good or bad?
You said rule earlier.
Let's just keep it with this. Aaron, good or bad? Cedric Suarez bad. So now you're changing it. So it looks like
no, it's not. Aaron.
Come on, Tell.
Aaron, what are you doing? No one's trying to change anything.
You are literally doing that.
No. It's trying to. Aaron, please let me finish. I'm trying to understand your view on it so I can completely comprehend it. So I
just read the incomings. That's all you have to do. That literally just that, and I'll say if it's a good or bad signing. That's not hard.
That's fine. Okay, so we'll continue.
That's what I thought we were doing anyway. But now we're going, well, this was 8 million signing, this was 16. So he didn't work out.
But I think hang on, but I think it's important to do that, right? So the audience understands how you're assessing and judging it. Me asking you a question.
Incoming.
That's just it. So
just an incoming. So did it work out or did it not? That's literally it. He's made about 30
I need to ask you a question on that, Aaron. I need to ask you a question on that, because when you say did it work out or not, I just want to understand in your mind, do you have a different expectation, for instance, on what you expect to see this season from Zubimendi versus what you expect to see from Kepa because of the positions they play and their squad status? Do you not have a different threshold for what you consider good or bad? I'm just trying to understand that.
Perhaps in a different conversation, but this one where we're waiting good signing, bad signing, no. I just want to read out the names.
Okay, that's fine.
And then
that's
go,
fine.
good,
that's fine.
bad. That's just what I thought we were doing.
That's fine. So, Cedric Soares.
Shit.
Okay. Moving on. Runnison, the backup goalkeeper.
World class.
Ben White.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard.
No.
Aaron Ramsdale.
That's a tricky one, man. No, it hasn't worked out. Replaced him within a year, 2 years. Yeah. No.
Tomiyasu.
No.
Lokonga.
No.
Nuno Tavares.
No. Oh, a lot of no's.
No. Gabriel Jesus.
No.
Fabio Vieira.
No.
Zinchenko.
No.
Trossard.
No. Oh, no. Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah. Trossard's been all right. Yeah.
Kivior.
No.
Jorginho.
No.
Matt Turner.
No.
Marquinhos.
No.
Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Kai Havertz.
No.
Timber.
Yes.
David Raya.
Yes.
Calafiori.
No.
Moreno.
No.
You want to count the loans of Neto and Sterling?
I mean, there'd just be 2 more no's, so it's entirely up to you what you want to do with that.
I'm asking you.
Include them. Yeah, it goes on my 70%,
so that's
then, doesn't it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 flops versus 8 yeses. So that's, we can work this out. So 8 divided by 28 probably comes in at your 30%, to be fair. Comes in at 28% success rate.
Oh, damn me for that 2%. Damn me.
Marino's a bit of a weird one.
Me now. Cancel me.
Pretty good as a striker.
Right. Anyways, it's been a pleasure.
It's not good enough, innit? So, like, Marino's a bit of a weird one. But I would say Marino. Marino's a tough. I'd say no. I'd say no, Marino.
Yeah.
But that I don't disagree with much there that he said, man. Like, to be fair, I think that he's been pretty fair there.
Yeah.
Odegaard's a weird one, man. Like, you could have an argument about Odegaard.
I accept that. That would be that's just personal preference at the end of the day. I accept that there probably will be a lot of people that will disagree with me. That's just my choice. That's completely down to me. I do appreciate that could have gone the other way for a lot of people. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, you could also argue that Trossard's not, because you said the reason why you said no on Ramsdale is because you bought him and within 2 years you got rid of him. Well, you bought Trossard and within 2 years you're looking to replace him. So
I totally see.
There's a few in there that you could argue either way. Yeah, there's a few in there that you could argue either way. But on the whole, I think it's probably an accurate list.
Yeah, there or thereabouts, isn't it? There you go. I think probably a lot of people, if they was honest with themselves, would probably largely, there'd be a couple there, maybe some people just down to personal preference. But I reckon a lot of people on that list probably would have agreed with me. Mostly. I'm not.
I think what you'll find a lot of people will do is people weigh things up, don't they? I think someone will look at a backup goalkeeper signing who barely kicked a ball. I don't think people would put that in a flop or maybe even a successful signing. I look at like Christian Eriksen at Man United for a free transfer that filled a hole for us for a few years. I wouldn't call him a flop because of what he cost us as an example. Like Norgard this year, if he comes in and does a decent job, I think he's been a hit for what he was expected to do for you guys. Versus Zubimendi, for him to be considered a hit, he's got to deliver a much higher height. So I think some people, that's why I was asking that question, because I just wanted to understand there's no right or wrong. It's just about understanding your thought process when you say hit or miss in that regard. Because I still don't understand. What I don't get, that's why I was asking, I think it's always important on a podcast to gather understanding, is what would you expect from a backup goalkeeper signing or a what would you expect from Norgard in terms of performances and levels for you to go, that was a decent signing at the cost? Like, what does he actually have to deliver and achieve for you to go, that was successful? I'd love to understand that.
I totally get that, but we'd be here all day with that then, because there's different parameters in terms of ages, transfer fees, how he's performed. There's just so many, so we'd just be here all day on the different one. We'd be going, and then I'll be talking for 20 minutes on how good or good.
I don't think it would be
thumbs up, thumbs down. It's just an easy, quick little thing, isn't it?
But I think I disagree. That is what television's for. Quick answers. I think that is the whole point of why fan channels and podcasts have become so popular, is that you have the time to actually delve into more detail so people understand where you're coming from on a more level, like, on that kind of basis. So I'm not even, you'll see, I would disagree with a single answer you've given, because your answer isn't important to me. Understanding why you think the way you do is far more interesting than your actual answer to me than anything else. Let's go to some more super chats here. This says this here says they deliberately equate 6 million signings as significant as a 50 million signing. That's how they create the 70% narrative. Go 20 million and above, most are hits, is what Invincibles says here. Do I think Arteta is doing a good job? Tremendous job. Do I think he should get sacked? Hell no, is what Thierry Henry has said. Yeah, he did say that recently, didn't he? I did see a clip online.
Yeah, but he's also questioning and saying, like, he's doing a good job, which he is doing a good job, but at the same time, you've got to win stuff, and he raised that as a concern. To which a lot of Arsenal fans started cooking on, saying it's jealous. Crazy way to treat your legend, but it's what it is.
Ginger Bish here says Arteta needs to win a trophy, no more phases. Jesus and Zinni raised the levels upon arrival. Havertz is great, but had to play every minute. We were riddled with injuries. That's why we fell short last year. This Arsenal fan is absolutely insufferable, is what Carl says here.
It's always excuses, though, isn't it? It's excuses, man.
They were unprecedented, them injuries, Till. That's exactly why. And them darn refereeing decisions, that's what done it. There's those darn injuries and that darn referee, you know. God, we'd have won the league. We'd have won it all if it weren't for those darn referees. Damn you. Damn you, injuries.
No one gave us a chance when we drew Real Madrid with a CDM playing as a striker alongside other with injuries, and Partey missing for the first home leg. Invincible here also says Kai Havertz is a disaster. As a disaster is hyperbole. Sorry, I'm hesitant to make definitive statements like this. That this football is fine margins. 23-24 when we lost the Premier League on the last day. Havertz was our best attacker in the running.
Yeah, but it was also, what was it like for the first half of the season?
Yeah, wasn't great in midfield.
The fact is, Kai Havertz has not worked out as a signing from Arsenal. He was signed as a midfielder, wasn't good enough, so he's not been moved to a striker. He's not good enough, so now Arsenal have replaced him with a new striker. They're the facts.
280k a week. Hasn't scored more than 13 Premier League goals. Didn't win us the Premier League title that year with all his 13 goals.
Look at all Pep signings. You'll see the same thing, and Klopp and every other top manager. Most signings are underwhelming. Hypocrites is what THH says here.
But they also win trophies. So they get that, you know, when you win trophies, you have credit in the bank. So you have a bad year, like Pep did last year, you have credit in the bank. You sign a player that's a bit of a crap player, you got credit in the bank. The whole reason why this conversation is happening with Arteta is because he doesn't have any credit in the bank.
This here says, did Inter Milan compete in the Champions League?
Inter Milan got to 2 finals in 3 years. So yeah.
Is there a manager that gets us? We've done that super chat. Sorry. The squad is completely different from when he took over. Going 70-30 bad signings and still challenging 3 years running seems pretty solid, is what Nick says here.
Yeah, can I just jump in on that? To be like Nick, let me just add in on this. It's pretty solid. Fair enough. It's not horrendous. Is second better than third? Is it better than fourth? Yeah, but it's still not success, bro. Pretty solid's cool. Pretty solid doesn't usually win you a Premier League title though. This is the problem. If you was to change that 70 to like what you said, Tel, and that 50-50, maybe Arsenal would have won something, especially being 5 points behind. You know, I know that was at the start of it where, you know, it's a little bit of a surprise, to be fair. And I thought we'd done well right at the end. Didn't quite happen. Next year, 2 points behind. Maybe then, if that summer or the preceding summers, there was 50-50 signings, maybe that extra 20% in terms of signings would have got you 2 points over the line. I.e., let's just say, for argument's sake, we'll never know, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Let's just say to change that 70 to a 60-40, and we had Ivan Toney in there. Maybe that might have been the 2 points difference to win you the Premier League 2 years ago. That's what I'm saying is that's fair enough. I totally agree with your point, Nick, and you're saying it's solid, but solid does not win you most of the time Premier League titles. It doesn't really win you the big money, big titles. Sorry, it just don't. Arsenal need more than pretty solid. Arsenal need excellent. That's what we need to win it. Or we need there or thereabouts. And we haven't had that over the last 5 years.
And I think a lot of that is about board. You know, one of the reasons why City fell off last year is because for 2 years running, their board didn't do a good enough job replenishing that squad for Pep Guardiola. And I think it showed. This here says we need to sign one more now. We are eternally the club one signing away. Please let this season be different. Big up Aaron. In Arteta, we trust, is what Nate says here.
I hope it comes through for you, Nate, my friend. I do. I want Arteta to succeed.
And you're an Arsenal fan, and you must.
Yeah, but I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm not an Arteta fan.
Yeah, but can I ask?
I'm an Arsenal fan. A lot of these are Arteta fans.
Yeah, but if you win the league on next season and or the Champions League, you're not going to think a single moment about Arteta. You're going to be celebrating, right?
Of course.
There we go. That's it. So
yeah, I know.
As well.
Yeah. Of course, we all want the same thing. This is what I want to clarify. I'd love Arteta to win the quadruple next summer. I would, not because he's Mikel Arteta, but because Arsenal Football Club have won the quadruple. Just what I want and what I'd like to happen are totally different things. I'd like to have a Lamborghini with Playboy bunnies in it. Do you know what I mean? What I'm likelihood is I'm going in my banged up car and going picking the kids up. It's just two different things, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? What can we do? The dream and the reality. What can we do?
With all these shit flop signings, Arteta must be Jesus Christ finishing second, is what Lago says here. Judge Mo said many times he likes Mikel Arteta as a coach. Yeah, Judge Mo has said that. Thank you. I've realized now applying financial risk and expectations is far too intelligent and contextual for bottom gooners to comprehend, only capable of thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm the one in the wrong, is what Invincibles has said here.
Thank you for admitting you're culpable there, my friend. Top man.
I've just skipped forward. Mikel Moreno is a good player. This message is to the Arsenal fan from Lamar Johnson.
Mikel Moreno is a good player. All right, on what do you base that? Maybe he was all right for Real Sociedad. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I never will. I didn't really watch him at Real Sociedad. I've watched him at Arsenal Football Club, though. As an emergency striker, he actually done a half-decent job. Not going to lie. Not going to lie. You know what I mean? He got a few goals. Put my hands up. But we didn't buy him as an emergency striker. We bought him as a midfielder. And if he came in and done his job as a midfielder, he'd have started every single game. Why didn't he start every single game? Because he weren't good enough as a midfielder. And if he was that good as a midfielder, we'd have put someone else as an emergency striker because he was doing such a great job in his position. For me, that's cool. If you like Mikel Moreno, that's your opinion. My opinion, he's been a bit of a disaster signing.
Yeah, I mean,
35 million.
Is he going to get
money?
But is he going to get in the team over Rice and Partey that were both brilliant?
This is what I'm assuming you're saying it to Lamar, not me. Of course he's not.
No, it was a question to everybody. Like, is him not starting every week an indication? Because if all of City's players are fit and firing, Kovacic wouldn't maybe play as many games. That wouldn't make him a worse signing than he's been because Rodri and, KDB were fully fit and flying and keeping him out the side as an example. Like because Rice and Partey were brilliant last year, right? Was that not more the reason that Moreno didn't start?
So, Thomas Partey was our most consistent performer throughout the whole entire season, yeah. But Declan Rice, actually, no. I believe he come good towards the latter stages of the second half of the season and was brilliant, magnificent. But he had, whether it be an England hangover, he didn't come back excellent in form. I can promise you that. He had a little bit of an injury towards the mid sort of bit of the season, slightly getting his form back, but he's playing with a broken toe. Maybe that was why he won't be really performing good.
Yeah,
but
early season, Rice wasn't good, but I think Moreno was injured, wasn't he? Early season as well.
For the first 2 months, granted. But maybe that did hinder him. But essentially, if he was that good enough when he come back from his injury, he'd have displaced one of them, no? And he just didn't, because he just weren't good enough. At the end of the day, you know, he just wasn't good enough.
So the drop off's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, the drop off is big. Yeah,
I get you. But if Marmoush doesn't bench Haaland, it doesn't mean he's been a bad signing.
No, we can drop Haaland and play Marmoush and still be very good. In fact, towards the end of the season, we was actually better with Marmoush than Haaland, right? But if Arsenal was to drop a Rice and play Merino, the drop off would be substantial
levels.
Fair.
So I think going back to the question that you asked about Norgard, is like what would make him a good signing is if they can give Zubimendi a rest, play Norgard, and not see a major decline.
Major decline. Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for, right?
So there's actually a good example. Sorry, one sec, Ted. There's a good example when Thomas Partey was injured for that PSG game, the first game, and Mikel Merino was actually doing really good as an emergency striker, but they brought him back into the midfield for that game. We got taken the absolute piss out of in that midfield. And I'm not saying that's solely down to Mikel Merino, but the point is what LB's saying, and what I'm saying is as well, is if you'd have had a Thomas Partey in there, the drop-off between Thomas Partey and Mikel Merino is bloody noticeable. It is noticeable.
I understand that. Yeah, no, I understand that. That's fair. That's why we ask questions. Question. I will say this to people: if people start having, I said this to a few people recently. If people don't like being questioned on podcasts, they shouldn't fucking do them. So why we ask questions, so we can understand where people are coming from. All we ever want to hear is straight, honest answers, and we just got one there, people. So everyone relax. Havertz, who scored 22 goals in 60 appearances, how is that a failure?
Come on, man. He's not going to be in the starting 11 next year.
Yeah,
if 65 million, 280k a week, he doesn't get into Arsenal's best 11 next season, does he? Gyökeres will be playing up front, and it'll be Zubimendi, Rice, and Odegaard. So where's Havertz play? He doesn't get in the team because he's not good enough.
Yeah, if 22 goals and 60 apps was that good, why are we signing the striker? I'm assuming British beef, you don't want Gyökeres then because Havertz is clearly that good. I'm assuming so. I'm assuming you must be baffled why we're getting a striker in there because he's got 22 goals and 60 appearances. So, I mean, win for Havertz, I suppose.
Big up, Terry. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you, Goon to Talk. Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first, you're last. Well, that's not true. I love it.
No, he's referencing the Talladega Nights. That's a badass film, by the way.
Yeah, I ain't seen it. Yeah, but it's also
it's a good film, man.
I don't necessarily agree, but there we go. Then why does he start for his country then? For Moreno? I don't know. I mean, he's a good player. He's a good player.
Will he start when Rodri's back?
I don't know. I don't watch enough Spain games to know the answers to that personally. Viewers, let us know. Dio here says, watch Aaron move the post when Arteta wins something. Sometimes I wish I could not critically think. These kind of fans seem happy.
You've been having that thought in you since 2020, my old China.
Aaron did say last week, if Arteta wins a major trophy, he'll give him a go again.
He get another crack at it, wouldn't he? Why not?
That made me laugh last week. That was very, very funny indeed. Moving on from this conversation slightly, keeping it with strikers, because the agenda got kind of thrown off a little bit today because of the breaking news. Have you all seen Eddie Howe's comments today? And he well finds them weird. I'll put them up on the screen in case people haven't seen them. But Eddie Howe today has said on Isak, he says, I love him as a player, I love him as a person, and we want him to stay. I'd never give the guarantee of anyone staying because I've been in football long enough to know that I could end up looking very silly, so I don't do that. The desire from everyone to keep him is as strong as it could be. So fingers crossed that won't happen. But he's also doing individual training at the moment as well, according to sources at Newcastle. Liverpool seemingly haven't given up. There's offers from Saudi. I don't know about you, LB. For a club that isn't going to sell him, no one ever seems that convinced when they're actually questioned in person.
Nah, I wouldn't read too much into the training on his own thing, because that could be for anything. That could be a specific routine. He could have a little bit of a knock or whatever. So I wouldn't read into anything like that. Listen, I think Isak wanted the Liverpool move, is my opinion. I think he probably wanted to go, which makes sense. You know, Liverpool just won the Premier League, got Salah, they got first. Why would you not want to join them rather than stay at Newcastle? If that deal's now off the table because Liverpool might be making the move for Ekatike, then where does he go? You know what I mean? So I've said for some time, I think he stays at Liverpool for one more season, and I think he leaves Newcastle next year. That's what I think happens, and I think he probably goes Barca, or maybe Bayern if Kane leaves and comes back to the Prem, whatever. But I think he leaves next year. Now, if the Saudis are in for him, you've got to think to yourself, how much money are they going to be offering him? Right? Because they're paying Tony 400 grand a week tax free. 400 grand a week for Tony. So if they're paying Tony 400 grand a week, what would they be willing to offer Isak, who's in his prime, 26 years old? Tony was, I think, 30 or 31, something like that. So they're probably going to be offering $1 million, close to $1 million, you'd think, per week, tax free. And regardless of what some of these guys in the chat will say, that would turn your head. Yeah. So maybe he's going to go. I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. But if the Saudis are serious, then that might happen. But where else would he go? Don't think PSG really want to play with a striker. They're happy with a false nine situation. Real Madrid, I think too much going on there for this summer. Barca, yeah, but do they have the funds? If they say to Isak, do one more year, we'll sort our finance that come in for you next year. Also, then he'll only have 2 years left on the contract, so it makes it a little bit easier to try and get him out of Newcastle. The price would be lower. I still think he stays one more year. But I do think he's leaving. I'd be surprised if he's still there in a couple of years.
Yeah, I just find the whole thing a little bit, not fishy. Fishy's probably the wrong word for it. It's just, if he was as dedicated as they said, and they weren't going to accept any bids, and he wasn't open to leaving, I just don't see why they're leaving him out of games. I don't see why Eddie Howe can't say he's 100% staying. If he sat with a player and the player has said, I'm just not accepting anybody's offers, which is the rhetoric some of their journalists have tried to push from April, that it's just an impossibility. That's what I don't like, I think it is. That's probably what the feeling I've got is. I feel that Newcastle's journalists are bullshitting to their fans, and I don't like that. There is a genuine... You saw it a few weeks ago. The bid's just gone in now for Johan Wissa. And a week and a half ago from Newcastle, 25 million's been rejected. Fucking 25 million. United should fucking go back in for him as well. But about a week, 10 days ago, there was this horrible bullshit lie created. Well, if Wissa goes to Newcastle first, Brentford are going to pull out the Mbumo deal. Or if Mbumo goes, Wissa will stay. No, they're both going to fucking leave. They're both going. I don't like how certain journalists who are connected to certain clubs kind of lie to their fan bases. When sentences are, there's no intention to sell, or they don't want to sell, or there's no plans right now to sell, that means for the right money we'll sell. That also means we can't control the player, or we can't stop him. I don't know why there isn't honesty in these circuits. That's the bit that annoys me, I think. There should be some honesty in those circumstances around the fact that this is a deal that is plausible and could happen. The player is certainly not said, no matter what happens, I'm staying at Newcastle. Otherwise, they'd have put this to bed ages ago. And that's the bit for me that I probably found jarring this summer. As you talk about these stories and you get hit with abuse. No way, the player said he loves the club. Yeah, he probably does love the club. But this isn't his marriage. He ain't talking about his fucking children. He's talking about a company he works for. I love loads of jobs I had. But if a better job comes along, toodle pip. Do you know what I mean? That's the bit I don't... this annoyed me during this conversation, the conversations about it. The deal's on. His exit in itself is on. Where he goes, exactly. Who knows? But he could definitely leave.
He's obviously open. He's obviously open to leaving. Now that doesn't mean he wants to leave right now, but he's obviously got his eye on the move, right?
Yeah.
The facts are, Ornstein come out and said Liverpool were in talks with Newcastle. and were prepared to offer a bid of around 120 million. There is absolutely zero way Liverpool are doing that if they've not got a nod from Isak or his agent that he'd do the deal. No chance. No football club does that. Yeah, as Tottenham have found out because they got caught. Yeah. Everybody, I know you're not meant to do that. I know you're meant to go to the club and say, oh, can we speak to your player about a potential move? And they give you permission. Nobody does that. They all go to the agent and say, right, we want to buy you. Would you be open to the deal? Because why on earth would you spend all that time negotiating with a club just for the player to turn around and go, I don't want to join you.
Well,
nice
Arsenal did it a few Januaries ago with Vlahovic. They put the bid in, got the bid accepted, and then the player's agent wouldn't answer the calls. Like it's just a bad look when you do that. It's a really bad look,
bro. So he's obviously open to the idea of moving. I just don't think he's willing to force it yet. I think at the end of the day, you don't need to force it. Newcastle are in the Champions League. Yeah, they get into finals. They've been in 2 finals in the last couple of years. They've won a trophy. It's not like he's at some dead club. Yeah, so I think that if he can get a move this summer, I think he'd like it. But I don't think he's going to be forcing the move because of where Newcastle are. They can win silverware and they're in the Champions League. Next summer, it'll be 27. He'll only have 2 years left on the deal. If Newcastle aren't looking like they're going to win the Premier League or Champions League anytime soon, then I think at that point he forces his way out of the club. But Newcastle will get over 100 million quid for him, so it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I still think he stays because I just don't see who gets him this summer unless the Saudis legit do come in for him. But then aren't they owned by the Saudis? So that's not a bit weird, isn't it?
I think Newcastle's got that little bit of wiggle room for another year in terms of Isak, purely because the transfer fee doesn't hugely differ from 3 years left on your deal to 2 years. If it was 2 years to 1 year, and say you had 2 years left on his deal, I think you'd be seeing Isak move this summer purely because I think the transfer fee and what you can negotiate drastically changes from 2 years to 1 year, where I don't think it does so much from 3 to 2. What I do think will happen, I reckon he'll stay for another year. And that's when I do think next season we will probably see Isak move, purely because Newcastle don't want themselves in a situation where Isak's there for another year. He's won him a cup last year. Maybe he'll win him another trophy or whatever next year or whatever. But I reckon next year in his heart of hearts will be like, this is the absolute year I want to move. Whereas this year, I still think there's probably scope within Isak. We don't know this for sure. It's just my opinion. But I think Isak, if you was to say to him, stay at Newcastle 1 more year, it wouldn't be the end of the world for him. Whereas I think next year, he'd probably be thinking, now is my absolute time to move.
Well, it'll be 27 then.
Yeah.
It'll be 27. Yeah. That's why I think he's not going to be forcing his way out. It's not like he's 28, 29 and he's like, I need to be winning Champions Leagues now. My career's coming to, not coming to an end, but I've got a couple of years left at the top. He can take his time. You don't want to rush a move. And like I say, fundamentally, he's at a decent team. You know what I mean? Newcastle have a good squad, got a good manager. Yeah. They're in Champions League and they win trophies. Well, they have won a trophy in 2 finals. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, I've got a question for you. Yeah, if you, I don't know if you can answer this, Paul, but let's just play a game, right? If I give you, and the Arsenal fans in the chat, if I give you the option of Gyökeres now, or you don't sign a striker, but then I guarantee that you get Isak next summer, which one would you go for?
Whilst I concede that Isak probably would be the better player, I'm sick of waiting another year. I really am. And I know there's also more guarantees with Isak in terms of he's done it in the Premier League. I don't want to wait another year. Maybe if you asked me this question 2+ years ago, maybe I'd have had a little bit more patience under this setup. But also need to do something now. Absolutely now. And if you was asking me of like a Sesko-esque sort of player, I'd have probably said maybe, do you know what, I'll wait. But because Gyökeres is coming in with good pedigree and I expect him to have a good season next year, what that translates into, I don't know for sure. But I do expect him to have a good goal scoring season next year. Absolutely. He's scored them goals for a reason and we're buying him for a reason. But I think I'd still take Gyökeres now, purely because we need it now more than ever. We can't delay.
I agree. I think if it was Sesko, I'd wait. But if it's Gyökeres, I'd get Gyökeres now.
Yeah. Facts, bro.
Yeah, you've got to go. I think you've got to go for a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush type thing here, and give that a go. Terry, was Man United the only club who went for Cunha? Newcastle wanted him as an example, but it's hard. I'd have to go back and read the articles, but United had him tied down on personal terms well before the end of the season, so nobody else really moved. And Mbeumo, different conversation. Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle all went in for him and all got told no. But again, we've had our rejections this summer. Delap and Gyökeres have told us no. We made a late play for Ekitike and got told no. I don't know about other football fans. I'm just too grown up and too thick-skinned to care about the rejection thing. I still think too many football fans cry. The reason why our fans feed us a lot of bullshit as well, though, is because the reason our clubs feed us a lot of bullshit is because most of our fans are not. Women don't do this, the man thing. Most of us are not man enough to just take the truth from our football clubs. So we ask for it to be sugar-coated. We ask for the bullshit. It's as simple as that. It really, really is. We can't.
Well, the thing is, though, if you're not being rejected, you ain't going for the 10 out of 10s. Do you know what I'm saying? You're going for the 6s and the 7s, right? My club's been rejected by Bellingham, Wirtz. Yeah, Rice was a weird one, but let's throw him in there as well. Yeah, obviously it's gutting. You want the players, right? But I'd much rather be trying to sign the players and get rejected than just not go for them. Like, who cares, man? Do you know what I mean? Show the intent. You're not going to get them all. You know, at the end of the day, if you're going for the best players out there, you're going to be competing with the best teams in this country, the Liverpool. You're going to be competing with Bayern, Real Madrid. Guess what? You're not going to get them all. But I'd rather be getting rejected, but I'm actually getting the players that are.
But you've got to. You've got to do that. This year's squad depth, mates. A good depth player, good purchase. I think that's talking about Moreno a little bit earlier on in the show. This year says it all depends on what Isak does. If he trains alone due to protest, then I don't think Liverpool is out of the picture this season.
But aren't they getting? I thought they was getting a TK.
They got a little here we go on that, haven't they?
He's in Liverpool. He's in Liverpool doing a medical. I think as things stand right now. So I mean he's going to come in, but there is talk about. Maybe going. There has been rumors in the Liverpool chat rooms and people connected to Liverpool. They could end up going for both if the opportunity presents itself because Ekitike has the ability to play out on the left. So there is a view that they could do that. They're also talking to Rodrigo as well, which is crazy. This here says, big up, Terry. You guys did a great job. Sorry, I think I would do that super chat. I didn't unstar it. Give Arteta a 5-year extension. He's doing great. He's got Mr. Perfect Toe says here. Norgard will stop us losing from winning positions, is what Chase says. It's a fair point. Aaron, if Arteta wins the league, or some of these spellings are wrong, but my dyslexia goes right crazy. Or would you admit that you were wrong about him?
All right, I'll break it down. For this season, isolated upcoming, yes, I would admit. For the previous 5 years, no, I won't admit it because I'd say of the last 5 years, I was right about him because he's failed. However, this season, in what you're asking, and isolated for this season, I want him out right now. Yes. So if he does win that at the end of the year, I will put my hands up and say, oh yeah, maybe I was wrong then. Maybe I was wrong then because he's won it at the end of the season. I guess we'll know at the end of the season, but I'm not going to apologize for my opinion for being right for the last 5 years, purely because he wins something in his technically 7th season. So yeah, I'll put my hands up and go, buzzing, cool. I wanted him out this season. He's won something. Excellent. Good job. You get another go next year. No, but I'm not going to apologise for half a decade of failure.
That's fair because if I see the guy in the chat says you'd be wrong about him altogether. He wouldn't, because what about if he doesn't win anything for the next 3 years, right? So he's done 10 years at Arsenal and then wins the league in his 10th year. Does that mean that all the Arteta inners were right about him? Obviously, it doesn't, does it? Because it took him 10 years.
Yeah.
But if you're saying now that you don't think Arteta is going to win the Champions League or the Premier League because you don't think he's good enough, and then he wins the Premier League or Champions League, then you have to be like, yo, first. But I agree with you. Doesn't mean you're wrong for the last 5 years. I agree.
Yeah. It just means I'd be wrong for this season because my standpoint is I want him out now. If he wins one of them trophies, yeah. And you know what? And I'll say this to all of the chat. I bloody hope I'm wrong. There isn't a person in this chat, the person on the panel, that wants me to be wrong more than me, because it means Arsenal's successful. And that's all I want.
Is there anything Arteta could do where you would look back and go, I'm so glad we never got rid of him? Just
well, I mean, win a treble. I mean, that wouldn't be so bad, would it? I suppose. I don't think it'd be a pretty crappy 5-year wait. But I mean, if the Gears have brought a treble, maybe I'll go. I mean, maybe.
I like the conversation. I like the conversation. I remember watching.
It's still not great for 5 years, but do you know what? It's a whole different scope if you're bringing me a treble and a Champions League.
But this is the whole conversation's got the whole conversation's got other scopes. I remember being a kid. And I watched this movie when I was a kid, and there's a line in this movie that stayed with me my whole life. And then knocked that over. And it was in the Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks 1, right? And Charlie Conway, that really good Joshua Jackson plays him, was talking to the coach, Coach Bombay. And Coach Bombay gave up hockey because as a kid, he had the chance to win the championship with like a penalty. And they show at the start of the movie and he shoots and he hits the post and he misses. And when he's telling Charlie about it later in the film, he talks about how close it was. He's like a shot and he was like 1 inch the other way and it would have gone in. And then Charlie, the character, says, yeah, but 1 inch the other way, it would have missed the goal altogether. And you wouldn't have felt it was so close. And it always stuck with me that life's like that. I think it's you could be so right, Aaron, that if you didn't hire Arteta and you went for someone else, you could have won far more between now and then. There is also another train of thought that if you got what you wanted, you may have gone even further backwards and you not even be where you are now. And I think that's the beauty of the conversation is, well, none of us in any direction will ever know. You guys could win the Premier League this year and then win it back to back. That's the first time you've ever done that, back-to-back Premier League titles. There is a train of thought that if you'd have gone and got a better manager 5 years ago, you could already have done it, but you'll never know. And I think that's the element, that's the beauty of these debates that I love so much, is that no one can actually prove their point. It's impossible. It is. The only thing that can be proven if he wins a trophy is anyone who's ever said, I just don't believe he'll ever get us over the line. Then that statement has been sort of disproven. But that's what I love about these debates. I love them. That's why I like hosting them.
I think to make up 5 years, and people in the chat just ain't getting this, man. Like, just listen to what I'm going to say. To make up through half a decade of failure, you have to do something pretty special, no? Probably something we've not done before. You can't just win a Premier League and go, fuck me, the 6 years have been unbelievable, haven't they? No, this season's been unbelievable.
I also,
you get me a treble, then you're going, was it?
I agree with Aaron.
Maybe not, agree. Maybe. Get me a treble. And
I don't think he can win the league and then go 6 years without winning anything again. I agree with you. I don't think he does that. I think what he's got to do, my personal opinion, to disprove people that have disliked him from the start wrong. I think, say from this season onwards, based on that super chat, he wins the league this year. I think over the next 6, 7, 8 years, I think he's got to win 2 or 3 league titles, add a Champions League, pick up. I think he's got to have a really strong period for you then to go back and say, because Fergie was similar. It took him a long time to win at United, and then he just carried on winning. He's got to go and have.
He won the FA Cup after 3 years. Then he won 2 European trophies the year after. Then he won the FA Cup, and then he won the Premier League. Yes, he did. He won it. He won the FA Cup, I'm sure, in his third year. Then he won 2 European trophies in 9. I'm fairly certain he joined in 86, 87. And I think in 1990. Sorry, go on.
No, he joined Manchester United in 1980. I want to say it was 1984. Actually, when he joined Manchester, it could have been 1985. Really? He joined the man. No, it was 1986. You're right. I was 1 year old. 1986. Looking here at his honours as a manager, his first trophy with Manchester United was the FA Cup, and that was in 1990. So 4 years.
Then he won 2 European trophies in 1991, and then won the League Cup in 92. So he'd won 4 trophies. He won both domestic cups and 2 European trophies.
Oh, you mean the Super Cup? All right, I don't ever count the Super Cup as a trophy. Sorry.
That's cool.
It's a community shield. But so he won. But the point I'm making is, I'm not talking about exactly the same timing of these things here. When you said European Cup, I wonder what you're referring to. The Super Cup,
Cup Winners' Cup, and because he won the FA Cup,
So from my point of view and perspective, all I'm pointing out here, and I'm on your side, is Arteta. Fergie. It took sort of 4 years to win. And barring 1 year where I think we came second, it actually took him until sort of the early 90s to start challenging for league titles. So it took him the best part of 6 or 7 years to be a consistent challenger in the league. But to make up for all that time, You've then got to go on and win. I'm not saying Arteta's got to match Fergie because Fergie's the greatest of all time, but he's got to go on and keep winning multiple trophies for a prolonged period. I think that's what he's got to go and do. Absolutely.
Yeah. But what Fergie done before he won the Premier League title in his 6th season was win 4 trophies. And that's just an inarguable fact.
I understand that. I understand that. But this is why I agree with you that I think Arsenal fans can't just win a big trophy and go, there we go, we won the debate, Arteta's safe for life. I think it's a crazy notion. I think it's an absolutely crazy notion indeed.
I remember as well, we are speaking about the 3rd most successful club in the country.
Yeah.
Like, you should be having an era of dominance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously you had the period in like 04 or whatever, right? But I can't ever really remember Arsenal having a period of 3, 4, 5 years of dominance, winning stuff all the time in my lifetime. The closest I get is when I was growing up in school. I was watching you do the Invincibles, right? I think you back-to-back the Prem, didn't you? Like, so did you back-to-back the Prem?
Also, never back-to-back the Prem. The only back-to-back we had is in the 30s, 33, 34,
what did you win
35,
it,
and 38.
win it? You won 2 in 3 years, no?
98, 2002, 2004.
So I'm talking about like this manager now. When he wins something, he then needs to kick on and have an era of maybe, I'm not talking like City style, like fucking 4 league titles in a row, but like couple of leagues, try and win that Champions League for Arsenal, not won it. My team was trying to win it for ages. Pep finally got us across the line. Can he do something there? Like I say, we're not speaking about some small club here. And this is why this conversation about Arsenal's always happens, because you're talking about a massive football club that don't win anything. It's incredible.
Yeah. This here says hot take. Arteta is only under that much pressure because he did a very, very great job and is 2 to 3 years ahead of the plan process.
That's got to be a wind-up, isn't it?
Nah, bait. That's bait.
That's got to be a wind-up. I know you're going to answer
bait
that
super
one.
chat, man.
That's a wind-up.
Don't fall for it.
Spow. No. I'm not giving you the satisfaction there.
3 years behind the process.
Oh,
that's crazy.
Wait, big up to you, Spow, though. Cheers for the €5 or dollars, whatever it is. And we're not falling for that one, mate. Big up to Luke as well.
This here says, I've been having this debate with my mates. For Rodrigo, Arsenal might be more attractive than Liverpool because it's in London and it's a younger, new project.
Yeah, facts. Players would rather live in London than North. That's just a fact, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's some facts in what you're saying. Yeah, it usually is a bit more attractive. Arsenal will pay handsomely. Not saying Liverpool won't, but Arsenal definitely will pay handsomely as well. Usually the Doris don't mind living in London if he's got a missus. I don't know about new younger project. I think that's the youth project was about 3, 4, 5 years ago at Arsenal Football Club. I think Liverpool's probably the fresher project now, to be fair, with a new manager, the players that they're signing and all of that. But look, I mean, it's still not an unattractive project at Arsenal Football Club. He's the type of signing that Arsenal Football Club need. I'd love him there. I think that'd be the knock-ins of a really good window if you start getting in a Gyökeres, add a Zubimendi in there, and then you start bringing a Rodrigo in there. I think you're starting to look at a very, very, very above average window for Arsenal Football Club, and I think a lot of Arsenal fans will be delighted with that.
Above average? That'd be amazing.
Yeah, what is above average? Yeah, that's it. Well, above average technically also is. Above average is everything above it. So I've covered all bases.
Your language is amazing. Yeah. Imagine signing Rodrigo, Gyökeres, Eze, Zubimendi, loads of backups going above average.
Yeah, so what?
Amazing.
That'd be good.
That'll do. That'll do.
Yeah.
That'll do. I love it. Look, we were going to talk Chelsea on today's show, but we have run out of time. We've run out of time on the show, and that's because you, the viewers, have sort of dictated that, and there's not much we could do about it. So we'll cover some more of that tomorrow in the live tomorrow morning with Callum from Coppish. We've got Straight Facts with Mo and Hassam tomorrow afternoon as well. So we'll delve into that in more detail. I want to thank Aaron. I want to thank LB. Great debates today. Great challenges as well. It's what we'd love to see on the terrace. Thank you to all the super chatters, everyone who smashed the like buttons. We did back-to-back streams, which was crazy. So thanks to everyone that's shown up for both of them as well. Gents, thank you. This is going to redirect you to Judge Mo's channel, so go and support him over there. Listen, until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.